Hello everybody and welcome back to Grand Bazaar. It is the first day of a new season, which is always really exciting. And we're in a bit of a unique situation here because we've been dropped into a new season right in the middle of the week, which is gonna leave us in a bit of an awkward position for the upcoming bazaar. But don't worry, I've got your back. I'm gonna cover in this video how it is that I'm gonna start the summer season, and I have a couple of other things to show you about some changes in this season. And as we leave the house today, we will also be getting a visit from Felix. Were you going somewhere? Perfect timing. I'm glad that you think it's great to be a nuisance. Do you like fishing? He wanted to give us a fishing rod. Aha! So we get our fishing tutorial, finally. This is a mandatory tutorial, by the way. Cannot be skipped. Hooray. We can go fishing on any of the docks that we've been seeing around town. There is one right by the waterfall, north of Lloyd's house. So there's one right between the waterfall and Lloyd's house. The one that we're at currently is in town, just south of the cafe, and then the final dock is over near the windmill by Angelo's house. So there's one on each of our main 3 screens. And all you have to do is equip your fishing rod into your tool slot and press the B button to cast it into the water. The fish will be attracted to your lure. They will move closer and closer to it, and then they'll bite. When that happens, press the A button as fast as you can. Ready? So you just wait for it, and when you see the exclamation point above your head, you'll want to press A as quickly as you can. And the tutorial is a little bit misleading because it says press the A button, but you in fact have to mash. You have to continue to press the A button to reel the fish in. Sometimes you just have to press it once and the fish will automatically be caught, but that is not the case in this game, which Felix doesn't really tell you. And the other important thing to remember is that this is sort of our starting fishing rod, so we'll only be able to catch the smallest fish, which are closest to the dock at this time. Later on, obviously, we're going to get the ability to change that, but for now, we're just kind of getting into fishing. Those are the basics, that's all there is to it. The kinds of fish you can catch vary by location. Try fishing in lots of different areas. Will do. That's just another thing to clog up my inventory with. Thanks, Felix. Actually, I shouldn't say that. It is a nuisance because we are constantly fighting for inventory space, but it's nice that we have the option to do some fishing because there are some fish that are actually worth quite a bit of money. And on weeks like this, when you might not have as much to sell at the bazaar, fishing is a really nice way to supplement your income. There are some villagers that really like fish as gifts. You can use fish in cooking. There's lots of different things that are really great about fishing. I'm not going to waste any more time standing around. I'm going to go ahead and till this entire lower field, and my goal is to fill this entire field. I would like to get both fields completely filled and up and running. However, because we have to do all of the steps today, tilling the soil, putting the seeds down, watering twice, and fertilizing, we just simply don't have the stamina for that. So we can only sort of focus on one field at a time, but I think one field is time consuming enough, so that's just where we're gonna start. And in order to do this, you're gonna need about 10 grand. So if you don't have $10,000, don't worry about wasting your stamina tilling the entire field right now. Save your strength, save your time. I'm actually gonna go ahead and try and maybe grab some of these flowers that I have in my inventory just to start clearing them out. I want to kind of get rid of some things. As you can see, my inventory is a little bit full right now. And before I leave, I should probably go ahead and restore my stamina for the first time today. We'll go ahead and jump into the tub, use the bathroom, and then we will head on off to Raoul's. Once my seeds are planted and they're watered and I've done that, then we'll sort of talk a little bit more about some changes in the summertime. But getting the fields up and running and focusing on what crops we're gonna grow is my priority at the moment. So the crop that we're going to be starting out with, the only crop that we have access to right now, are radishes. So they are a little bit more costly than the turnips. The turnips were about $120 a bag. These are about $200 a bag. So you do have to have a little bit more money in order to kind of get a head start on this. And again, this is going to completely depend on how you've been doing at the bazaar, how much money you have left, what kind of things did you buy. You might not have as much money as I do, but I'm in the position, fortunately, where I can actually get both fields completely filled and up and running, and I can get a really nice start to getting some crops ready for the bazaar. And if you have the ability, even if you can only do a couple of radishes, I would recommend starting right on the first day of summer, because if everything lines up and works in your favor, if you can get the radishes planted on the first day of summer and watered twice, you can have the radishes ready to go for the first bazaar. But this only works if the weather cooperates with you and it's clear all the way up until the bazaar, because you have to be able to water these radishes twice a day every day in order to grow them in 4 days. So that is sort of the key. And this may not work depending on what weather conditions you get. Still not a bad idea, just to sort of start out getting the farm up and running, though, I think. So I've got enough seeds to do the entire field. I've got enough fertilizer to do the field. So let's just go ahead and do this. Now, I know this is probably getting old. Imagine how old this is for me. Trying to water 108 squares a day, twice a day, with only being able to water 1 square at a time is pretty brutal, but I know that it's also pretty brutal to watch. I do try to cut out either the second watering or the fertilizing, but let me know what you think. I can always start these videos a little bit later in the day, where I've already done the watering, or just skip it in the video and go back and, you know, do it later on my own time. But I think on this first day, it's a good idea for me to show this off just so that you have an idea of how much stamina that this takes. It is entirely possible to do, however, as long as you are watching the clock and you're making sure to use your stamina recovery methods multiple times a day. It is entirely possible to do this. But I am going to be very busy working this summer. We're going to spend a lot more time on the farm, and if you are going to be doing this, like I am, maxing out your fields, you do want to be very, very careful about how you use your stamina outside of watering. So you'll want to make sure not to be using your axe or your hammer too much. And you don't want to go swimming in the river. That's a huge one that will eat up a lot of your stamina. Until you've watered your crops twice a day and you've done the fertilizing and you've done all of your crop care, I think it is always a good idea just to kind of hold on to your stamina, because it's just so precious at this stage with our first kind of beginner tools that we have. And I am watching the clock. I think it's a little bit early to be able to do some stamina recovery, but it should be soon. I might be able to get that last patch watered, but I'm not going to push it. I'll try and do some stamina recovery here. Aha! Okay, it did work. Perfect. So even having these all watered by around noon, these probably won't start to dry up until 10 o'clock at night. And that's sort of pushing it. That's getting late into the day. But it is not uncommon for me in the summertime to be up until 1 or 2 in the morning. I haven't found that it makes any difference whatsoever. Your farmer doesn't wake up tired or with less stamina in the morning. The game doesn't force you to go to bed until 5 in the morning. So personally, sometimes I've stayed up exploring, fishing, using up my stamina, going into the river, doing all these things until really, really late into the morning. But now we get to go and have a little bit of fun because we kind of have the rest of the day until those crops start to dry up to go out and explore the town. So I'm going to just put a couple items away just for the simple fact that I'd like to give myself a little bit of room as we go out. The first thing you'll notice to the tree to my left is there's a new type of bug. These are cicadas. There are a lot of bugs in this season, so if you're a bug catcher, this is a good season for you. And I have to say that some of these bugs actually sell for a pretty decent amount of cash. They definitely can sell for way more than butterflies ever did. So sometimes bug catching is worth it. So we'll take these 3 cicadas just as an example. We'll take them to Raoul's and we'll kind of see what they sell for. We are also going to be able to find beetles in this season, fireflies. You will still find butterflies, but it is a little bit more rare. They don't pop up as often. You will still be able to find mint, chamomile, walnuts, branches, stones, and coins. The only thing that's really changed besides the bugs are the flowers. And they kind of stiff us in the summer because we only get one type of flower, and it's this pink cat flower that you see around town. Spring was nice and vibrant. We had 3 different choices, but they only give us a pink flower in the summer season, which kind of stinks. And because we only get one color of flower, this doesn't appeal to a lot of villagers actually. So I tend to keep a couple of mine for my vase in my house so I can get my stamina recovery. There are a couple of villagers that do like these, and I do give them away as gifts. But I will also probably be selling quite a few of these, just depending on how many I end up with. And I did go pretty nuts with the butterflies. As you can see, my inventory is lousy with butterflies, but I really did want to make sure that I had enough stockpiled as gifts. But I am going to run into some inventory space issues here, so I may have to sell a couple of them. But as you can see, of the 3 cicadas that we caught, one is worth nothing. $10, absolutely worthless. Just give it away as a gift. But we caught one that's worth 70, which is not bad for a bug, and probably even better if you wait and sell it at the bazaar. Now for me, I don't really care. I have a bigger set of goals in mind. I don't need to keep my bugs around. I'm just gonna focus on crops, maybe some fish, anything else that I can kind of find to sell. I'm just gonna get rid of my bugs, and if I'm left with some really nice bugs closer to bazaar day that I think will sell for money, I'll keep them. And we sort of have to wait for the sun to go down in order to see the other bugs. We won't be able to get fireflies until it gets dark outside, and the same goes for beetles. I'm gonna stop in at Felix's because he gave us the fishing tutorial, so we've already seen him once today, but it is his birthday. I don't really have a good present for Felix at this time, but even just the thought of a birthday present makes most villagers pretty happy. So I'm gonna try and just give these flowers out, just to kind of get rid of them. I'm gonna give my pink cat flower to Nellie because this is one of the flowers that she actually really likes. This is a good gift for her. And it's also a good gift for Lauren, the twin that wears red. Daisy also likes pink cat flowers. So we do have a few villagers, we have a few options. This is a good opportunity for me to get these stones out of my inventory. And then we'll move on to our final screen here. And even though it's taken me until 4 p.m. to get here, it's kind of nice to see that these things are still on the ground waiting for me, because I know that these items do disappear if they're left around for too long. Dang it, my inventory is already full. It really doesn't take long, does it? Oh, but you know what? Sherry's coming around and I can give her that one butterfly that I had that's taking up space. Here you go. You're part of the reason that I have caught so many butterflies. And now that I have a space or two freed up, let's go ahead and try some fishing. We'll use this dock just as an example. Equip your fishing rod. Press B on the dock. It'll ask you if you want to fish. And now all we have to do is wait for the fish to bite. So it'll tell you the type of fish and the size. I think it also keeps track of your biggest fish at home in your assets menu. And some fish actually sell for a decent amount of money, and this might be a good way for you to supplement your income at the start of this month, especially because you might not have a lot to sell at the bazaar. And the cost of the fish is going to vary depending on the star quality, the size of the fish, what kind of fish it is. But fishing, you just have to be really careful with, because every different kind of fish is going to take up inventory space, and every single quality and freshness of the same fish will also take up inventory space, just like with any other item that we have that has both a freshness and a quality level assigned to it. So you can fill up your inventory very, very quickly. And I also find that fish do not stay very fresh for very long. Even if you put it in your storage, you probably want to make sure that you sell it to the closest bazaar upcoming. I've tried to keep them for, you know, a week and a half, say, and they've gone almost completely bad by the time my next bazaar rolled around. And you can see, right, these two fish, they actually sell for a decent amount to Raoul. They'll sell for even more at the bazaar, and it doesn't take that long, usually, to catch a couple of fish. The fishing is okay in this game. It's very straightforward, very easy to understand, but I do find that you have to have pretty fast reflexes in order to be able to catch the fish. If you're not immediately pressing A as soon as you get the chance, it is very easy for them to get away. And that can be kind of frustrating. I think I've sort of covered everything that we see immediately change come summer. We obviously have some other stuff to sort of look forward to as time goes on. We're going to see some more crops being sold at the bazaar. We're going to get access to another windmill later on in the month. But most things stay the same. We just have a couple of changes with our environment. Last month I was a turnip farmer, and this month I'm going to be a radish farmer, so not much has changed. When the sun starts to set in the evening, even before it gets dark, you'll start to see these little glowing bits on the ground, and these are fireflies. So you can catch fireflies in sort of the evening type sunlight conditions. You'll also be able to catch them when it's completely dark outside. And then we have to wait until it gets completely dark in order to catch beetles. I'm just gonna sell a couple of things just to sort of make some inventory space at this point. Just so that we can catch these bugs and put them in our inventory without having to constantly stop. So you should be filling out your bug menu if you're going around and catching quite a few bugs. There's lots of different varieties of all the different kinds of bugs you can catch in this season. There's lots of fireflies, lots of cicadas, lots of beetles. It's still not quite dark enough for beetles to come out, so I'm just going to give it a little while. I'm going to find Daisy and give her this butterfly just to free up another inventory slot. I'm going to go and put my chicken inside. I will do the watering and the fertilizing on my own time for the second time. couple of hours, we should be able to start finding beetles. Now, they will replace the cicadas. They'll be on trees. Yeah, and it's not even time to water yet. It's still not dried up. So it is going to be quite a late night for me. So let's go ahead and get my chicken in. We should have a fully grown chicken in a couple of days. I don't imagine they have many more days to go before they're fully grown. And one thing I did forget to mention was the blackboard in the barn. This will have all the details. This will have all the details of all your animals. So this will check to see that they've eaten and their stress levels and all of that good stuff. So we actually start with a 2-star friendship because we bought cheap as a chick from Enrique at the Bazaar as opposed to buying a adult chicken. So we should actually be getting some decent quality eggs to start out with, which is really nice once they're grown up. Now, I'm not sure exactly what time the beetles come out, but it is quite late. It's probably not till 9 or 10 o'clock at night. They are the most profitable bug, though, I find. Some beetles are worth hundreds of dollars, multiple hundreds. So if you're up late, if you're able to stay up late and catch them, then I think it's definitely worth it. And it's not uncommon for me in this season to stay up past midnight and to be up until 1 or 2 in the morning. I have not found that it makes a difference in this game, if I'm being honest. You don't wake up with less stamina, you don't drain stamina more quickly. The only thing that the game forces you is to go to bed at 5 o'clock in the morning if you stayed up that late. And I've saved my remaining stamina, so I should have lots of stamina to finish fertilizing and doing my last final watering as well. So it's 9 o'clock now. Let's go have a look. It looks like 9's the magic number. You can see that there is a brown beetle on this tree stump near my house. And it's the same as catching the cicadas. You want to make sure you're walking. You want to go very, very slow. You can see this one here is very easy to see. It's got a beautiful yellow shell on it. The brown ones are a little bit more difficult to see. And then on this tree, there's this white beetle. I find the white ones are the most valuable. So there you have it. That should cover all of the bugs that we can find, all of the little tiny changes that have happened, like the flowers. We did some foraging today. I can now water, do my second watering, squeeze that in before midnight. We learned how to fish. It's been a very, very productive first day of summer. I am just going to sort of play right up until the bazaar. It's a very short week for us. We've only got a couple days of playtime before we get going with our first sale of the summer. Probably going to be the least successful one, but we still have a few tricks up our sleeve. We've got a few ways that we can make some money, so hopefully we'll be able to sell a little bit. I'm going to continue just to work away on those radishes, and hopefully they will be ready for us come Saturday. So thank you all so very much for watching, and I hope that I will see you next time.